There we go. Hopefully that gave you a brief taste of what iMapInvasives looks like. And essentially what we have with iMapInvasives is an online system where anyone can go online and view invasive species data in a map interface. Anyone can record observations of invasive species in the field. And this data is all used by conservation partners. And so that really sets it up to be a great tool for science education. And so in recognition of that, this invasive species curriculum was developed for middle and high school students. So to give you a brief explanation of what this curriculum is before going into more about it, it provides a framework for integrating invasive species education into a middle and high school science course, and it provides a broader understanding of invasive species impacts, biology, management, prevention, and more. It gives students an opportunity to make and record scientific observations. It gives students an opportunity to view and analyze data in a map interface. And it also fits into several middle and high school curriculum standards. And all of this while contributing to a real database that is used by conservation professionals across the state. And I wanted to start off with some acknowledgements just to show who actually created this curriculum. I starred a couple of names of people who are actually going to be on the webinar today. So Emily, Jennifer, and Mike. So thank you everyone who worked on creating this great resource for New York State educators. And then to give a bit more framing before I go into some of the details, I asked Dr. Mike Jabot to speak. So he is a SUNY Distinguished Professor of Science Education at SUNY Fredonia. So he's a professor of science education in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. And in addition to that, he's also the director of the Institute for Research in Science Teaching and a NASA Earth Ambassador. And his research interests are development of student understanding of place-based science using geospatial technologies. And very relevant to today, he was part of creating the curriculum, and he's also an iMapInvasives certified trainer. So thanks so much, Mike. I'll hand it over to you now.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity. I've really enjoyed reading as people put things in the chat, so I'll try to keep some of those ideas in mind as I talk. A couple people mentioned having their students doing research. So a little bit to the background behind the idea of geospatial technology. So iMapInvasives is an incredible tool and has an ease of use for community scientists, which include all the students that are in your classrooms. Our work here at Fredonia goes beyond just middle school and high school. We actually have elementary students that are involved in doing community science as part of the NASA GLOBE program. And part of NASA GLOBE is a focus on land cover identification, land cover analysis, and the iMapInvasives fits in very, very well because the two protocols overlap with each other, but neither is necessarily is a partnership. They're hand in glove with each other, which is great. The idea of bringing these technologies in, so if you have, and I apologize, if you have an iMapInvasives account already, you understand that you can really use any smart technology to be able to do this, from a cell phone, a smartphone that you take out into the field. We use sort of low-end Android tablets for our work with the schools around us in far western New York, and they work out great. The idea, iMapInvasives, one of the biggest questions generally is about having to have a data service. Because iMapInvasives is built on the Survey 123 technology, the map that you bring up on your tablet is already geo-referenced. So when the kids go out in the field and they lose their Wi-Fi connection from the school, it's great. It's okay. They go out, they can collect their data, and as soon as they come back in contact with that Wi-Fi and link, their data that they've collected is then able to to be georeferenced on the map. So it's an incredible tool, an incredible opportunity to do some really important things. You know, you may not like me after this, but I was very happy to be involved in at first the development of the framework for K-12 education, and then worked on the leadership team from New York State that helped develop the NISLIS. And one of the challenges that we have in bringing NISLIS to life in the classrooms is NISLIS is very much a curriculum that's focused on breaking down some boundaries between content areas and has a very high focus on the science and engineering practices. iMapInvasives is a perfect example of being able to look at cross-curricular, cross-content kinds of ideas. So, you know, in both the examples of the videos that Mitch showed, you know, we can have some biological reasons that invasives are able to take hold, but we can also cross over into the earth science world and look at soil type. We can look at availability of water, so the hydrology. So a lot of earth systems kinds of interactions along with the data that you're collecting with iMapInvasives. I could talk about this for an hour. Mitch gave me 5 minutes, so maybe we're going to have questions at the end, which is awesome. The one thing I will tell you that iMapInvasives, being an incredible tool, can also lead, in our experience, can also lead to other great, incredible tools in your classroom. So thanks. I don't know if you could see me getting wound up. I was really getting excited. I'm sitting here in Oneida, Aaron, so I was almost to your school today. I almost drove by your school. So.
Thank you so much, Mike. That was a great start to what I'll talk about next, which will be going into the curriculum a little bit more. And so, yeah, people can enter questions into the chat. We'll have more time to have those sorts of discussions towards the end of the webinar.